Alright, I believe we're going. I believe it's going. So if it's going, then I can do this. Whatever. Hey, good morning. It is I, your host, Pogo Kiddo, with yet another episode of Red Stone Lapis Lazuli. Hey, check it. Let's switch it over. Check it out. Wow, let me full screen it. Wow, beautiful, beautiful nether portal. I like the way the light reflects off the texture. It looks cool, man. And I'm playing Minecraft. Yeah, playing Minecraft, of course. What else would I be doing? All right. So, to bring us up to date as to what's going on. Yeah, look at that nice line. Where'd that line come from? I made it. It's part of my train station here. You see this massive train station I made? Pretty nifty, right? But it doesn't go anywhere. And a train station that doesn't go anywhere is no good. So I made one place to go, Taiga Village. But this is how it works. You light it up, you select the track, you hop in the cart, and then you go on your merry own way, a merry own little way, and then down the train tracks. The bridge that I have made myself. Oh, how nice. That's a lot of cobblestone, man. Cobblestone doesn't just come from nowhere. You have to make it. And you make it by digging it up, which meant I had to dig up a lot of stuff in order to make this rail line. But that's okay, right? That's what Minecraft is about, right? Minecraft, mining the craft, crafting the mine. Using what you dig up to build something else. I mean, that's kind of like capitalism, right? Creative destruction. You destroy something to create something else. With the power of labor, combine labor and capital to make something new. And yes, so here, what a nice little village, right? This train line takes you to a nice village. I have my train station up in the tree. Ha 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 ha. So then the villagers won't take it. Look at this invisible dude here on the roof. What's up, guy? What are you selling? Nothing I want. Ooh, beetroot seeds. That I don't have beetroot yet. That would have been good, but I don't have anything to trade. So unfortunately, we cannot do it. But yeah, this is a village. It's a village. Look, there's some loving going on over here. Some guys are loving each other. What, you know, I'm alright with. It's cool. Love each other. Make kids. Yay. Look at the kids you made. And then here's our beat up golem. He's pretty messed up. But I have no iron with me, so I can't fix it. And yeah, this is their little village. There's a couple of kids running around. Check it out. They're repopulating the village. There's wolves hanging out. They're like, if I see a sheep, I'm gonna eat them. Yep, I know. And yeah, it's a pretty nice village. So, you know, normally you'd have to hop in a boat and then ride up the river to get there to Trois-Rivières, but no, not this time. I made a train line. And it goes back before it gets dark because the sun's getting low. Let's go back home. Yes, and in the distance, we see the magnificent base that I've built. It's pretty incredible. Pardon me. Okay. Yeah. It's a nice base. It's a nice base. You could see over here, JJ's been building stuff. JJ has been building stuff. What has he been building? What has my my nephew been building? Well, he built this thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But he built this thing. I'm not sure what it does. And here it says, odd world. It says left, right. It says danger, and then rainbow friends. So rainbow friends is something from Roblox, which is another video game that I've never played. So I have no idea what he's talking about, what he's going on about, nothing. But he was really excited about this. And I don't know what it is. It's just a thing he made. Okay, cool, right? Cool. Look at the things I made real quick. I mean, like, that's cool for him. But yes, come observe real quick. So, I decided that I wanted to keep the rotten flesh. Before, the rotten flesh was right here getting siphoned out and chucked in the lava. But then I decided, you know what? I need to get glowstone, and the only way a good way of getting glowstone is trading with priests. And priests love rotten flesh. So I set up this deal to save the rotten flesh, and if it ever fills up like it is now, what's going to happen is it's going to overflow into this this dropper, which just drops it into the lava. But this right here, isn't this the neatest little dropper clock? It's a single speed dropper clock, but you basically have access to all three sides. Like, all the other dropper clocks used up 2 of the sides of the dropper, so you only had a few sides left. This one only uses one side. It only uses this side, and that's it. It's the simplest thing ever. Just a block being read by a comparator. You don't even need it in subtract mode. You can have it whatever way you want. But yeah. So the thing is that the comparator reads through the block whenever something's inside of it. But it doesn't output anything. No one cares about the output. I don't care about the output. What I care about is the comparator reading, because when it sees something, it powers on. When it powers on, this right here is an observer, and this observer is looking straight down at that comparator. And whenever that thing changes, it's going to output a signal up here, 15 strength power, which reads this redstone line, goes all the way down back into the comparator. When it feeds sideways into the comparator, in subtract mode, it will subtract the signal from the output, or from the output. So the output is going to be 1, because there's only like one item in there, and it's going to detect it and output here a signal of 15 power, 14, 13, 12. 12 minus 1, it's going to shut this thing off, which it does. So as soon as something gets in there, it gets powered for a second because the redstone powers it, and then the redstone turns it off, and so it shoots it back out. Oh, it's fantastic! It's fantastic. What a great machine. Rain. What a great machine. So yeah, and I made this little like quick access, easy access, so I can access my 2 priests. Yay! And then down here, I made a way to get through this wall. It's not totally solid. I figured it out that I can like squeeze through. Of course, the sides are open, so if a zombie ever comes in, these guys are gonna get eaten. But I don't think a zombie is gonna come in. I haven't seen a zombie yet. So yeah, that's what I've been doing in the world of Minecraft. Pretty much that. I finished the train station, I made a train line, and I figured out a way to save the rotten flesh so I could trade with the priests. Pounds and pounds and pounds of rotten flesh. It's just ridiculous how much you get. But that's good because these guys eat up all of it. They love the rotten flesh. They love it. So I'm like, great, I love your glowstone, so let's make a trade. Okay, well here it's getting rainy, and you know what? Another thing is I had to lower my resolution, the original resolution, to 720 or 738, which is about half the resolution of 1440p. Kind of sucks, but I mean there's not much of a change in terms of quality, but the frame rates are a lot better. when I had it at 900p, the frames would dip a lot, a lot. Because I mean, you still get the cool textures, right? That's neat. But whenever I came into here and looked up, my frame rate would like tank, because that's a lot of glass and refractions and reflections that it has to calculate all at once. So it couldn't do it at 900p, but it can handle it at 738p. So yay. Alright, but you know what? How many people come here from Minecraft? Not many. They come here for the information that I've gathered throughout the week. My information gathering and analysis. That's why they come listen to me. That's why they're watching. Minecraft is like a secondary thing to them. So let me explain some of the stuff going on. This week has been kind of a major week in American politics. Why is that? Well, for years and years, Republicans have been hounding Hunter Biden, and by extension, Joe Biden, because Republicans have been looking for a way to impeach Joe Biden. So they need to discover some kind of crime that Joe Biden did in order to, so they can proceed with their impeachment. So that's the funny thing, though, right? When it was Donald Trump, no one went looking for a crime. The crime presented itself. Donald Trump committed crime out in the open, and everyone saw it. So of course, right? So since the crime took place, an investigation was started to determine, well, what was the extent of the crime. Now, conversely, with Joe Biden, there is no crime. There's nothing. There's nothing there. There's no crime. So Republicans can't proceed to impeachment if there's no crime. To that end, Republicans decided to do an investigation. So there wasn't a crime. Like with Donald Trump, there was a crime. So that means there was an investigation. There was evidence of a crime, so they proceeded with an investigation. But for Joe Biden, there's no evidence of crime. However, Republicans are already have it in their minds that they want to impeach Joe Biden. So they don't have a crime, but they need one in order to go forward with the impeachment. So to that end, they went looking for a crime. They went fishing for a crime that they can pin on Joe Biden. Because Republicans don't really care about the United States, they care about power. They're not really, power is their deal. So since now they're looking for a crime. They're looking for a crime for Joe Biden so they can get, well, that kind of thing leads people to be wide open to con men. When you don't care about the truth, all you want is a result, but you don't care about the truth, then that leaves you open to con men. So what happened was the Republicans, the House Republicans, the chair of the Oversight Committee, James Comer, I think he's from Texas, maybe not in Texas, but he's a Republican. James Comer relied on the testimony of two people who swore up and down that they had evidence and will testify that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are criminals. And James Comer built this entire narrative based on what these two people were promising to tell him. They built this whole narrative that Hunter Biden was a bad guy and that Joe Biden was getting bribed and all this stuff. And then so of course the followers of Republicans who are not well educated, they're not very well educated, they believe what the Republicans were telling them because it confirmed their biases. Republicans have this bias that they already believe that Joe Biden is a bad guy. They already believe it. So James Comer comes along and says, hey guys, I'm going to reaffirm your biases. and the Republican voters are like, oh great, yeah, of course I'll believe you because that affirms what I already believe. so both Republicans voters and Republican congressmen were absolutely 100% invested in what these two people had to say that they said would prove that Joe Biden was corrupt. Well, one of those people that they pulled up to prove that Joe Biden was corrupt was a guy named Gal Luft. Gal Luft. This guy named Gal Luft was going to come testify before the House and tell everyone about all the bad things he knows about Joe and Hunter Biden. However, before Mr. Luft could arrive at the House to testify, he was arrested. He was arrested. He was arrested for being a Chinese foreign agent, an unregistered Chinese foreign agent. It's okay if you're a foreign agent. You just have to tell everyone that you're a foreign agent. What's not cool is being a foreign agent and then not telling anyone that's what you are, because that turns you into a spy. If you're a foreign agent and you don't tell anybody, that means you're a spy. So Gal Luft was arrested by the FBI for being a Chinese spy. So wait a minute. Gal Luft was supposed to testify and give all this information about how Joe Biden is corrupt, but he's been arrested for being a Chinese spy. What? That's right. And look at the funny thing. He's Israeli. This Gal Luft guy is Israeli. He works for China. He's a Chinese spy, and he was going to tell lies about Joe and Hunter Biden, but he's Israeli. His name was Gal Luft. So that sucks, right? That sucks for Republicans. That was their guy. That was their big guy that they were going to use to justify the investigations into Joe and Hunter Biden. But their dude ends up being a Chinese spy. But that's okay, right? Because Republicans have another guy that promises to tell them all the bad dirt about Joe and Hunter Biden. That guy's name is Alexander Smirnov. Alexander Smirnov. And that guy was going to testify and tell all the bad things that Joe and Hunter Biden did. But before he could do so, Alexander Smirnov got arrested by the FBI. Why? Because he was lying to the FBI. This guy, Alexander Smirnov, was an unregistered Russian agent, i.e. Russian spy. He was a Russian spy. And he was going to tell the Republicans all sorts of bad things about Joe and Hunter Biden so that Republicans could go after Joe and Hunter Biden. But he was arrested. And look what is it? This guy, Alexander Smirnov, turns out to be Israeli. He's Israeli. That's two Israelis that were set up to go tell lies, working for two different foreign nations that are both enemies of the United States. And they were both sent to attack Joe and Hunter Biden. That's weird. That's weird. Why would two Israelis help foreign nations by trying to attack the American president? Oh, that's right. That's right. Bibi Netanyahu and Vladimir Putin are on the same page. They both hate democracy. They both want dictatorship, and they both love mass murder. So yeah, it makes sense that the Israelis would be sending their people to take out the American president, even though Joe Biden is like genociding, even though he's supporting the genocide. Like, that's what's so weird, is that Joe Biden is supporting the Israeli genocide, and yet the Israelis are still going after Joe Biden, trying to take him out. That's so weird. So the Israelis have teamed up with China and Russia and the Republicans to go after the American president. And so that just blows up 5 years worth of Republican narrative that was built upon the idea that you could trust the words of Chinese and Russian spies. Right? That's weird. So what you know, and you know that what Israel is doing in Gaza is a genocide. It's a genocide. It's a genocide. It's a genocide. Look what they're doing, dudes. Look what they're doing. They're taking selfies amongst the ruins of the city they destroyed. All those innocent people that live there are like have either no home or are dead. They've killed 30,000 Palestinian people, mostly children. They mostly killed kids. So you can't say they're fighting Hamas when the majority of people they've killed are children. It's more like they're genociding the Palestinian people. Because that's what they're doing. They're wrecking their cemeteries. They're destroying their cities. Anything the Palestinians have built, the Israelis are destroying. Because Israel, the government of Israel, wants to take over their land. It's called ethnic cleansing. It's a war crime. You cannot do ethnic cleansing. Genocide is against the law. But Israel's doing it, and Joe Biden is helping them. And the way Israel thanks Joe Biden is by trying to take him out. By working with his enemies. Is Joe Biden stupid? What's wrong here? Yeah, I don't get it. Is Joe Biden stupid? He's literally helping a government commit genocide, and in response, that government is trying to take him out. Presumably because they want the other guy in there, which is Donald Trump, which is also an ally of Russia. How weird. So, Israel, it's a genocide, right? A UN food truck was hit on February 5th, but CNN has seen correspondence between UN RWA and Kogat, confirming the route in advance. Despite this, it was still struck by naval gunfire. Satellite imagery shows IDF boats visible afterwards. So, there was a food convoy going to feed the people of Palestine who are starving to death right now because their city has been destroyed by Israel. And before the food trucks can arrive in Gaza to feed the people, Israel destroys them. Even if it gets to the border of Gaza, even if the food trucks get to the border of Gaza, Israeli citizens will go and blockade the aid so that it never reaches the Palestinian people and the kids starve to death. Why would Israeli people be doing this? Why would they be doing this? Not only are they allied with Russia and China against the United States, not only are they trying to take down the American president, but they're also starving out the Palestinian children. Why would Israelis do that? Well, let's ask a settler. Let me ask. Why? Why would you do this? Oh, because you're fascist. Because they're fascist. They're fascist because they're fascists. That's why they're doing it. Well, shit. Oops. So the reason why Israelis are genociding the Palestinian people and starving the Palestinian people is because they're Nazis. They're basically Nazis. So Joe Biden, to help the Nazis commit genocide, is sending them weapons. And in response, the Israeli Nazis are working with Russia and China to take out Joe Biden and the Republicans. They're working with they're working with the enemies of democracy to take out Joe Biden. So that leads me to ask, is Joe Biden stupid? What's wrong with Joe Biden? Why is he doing this? Why is he helping his enemies take him out? So that's interesting because it ought to end the impeachment inquiry. Remember, the inquiry is not into actual crimes, it's looking for a crime. That's against the Fourth Amendment. You know the Fourth Amendment of the United States against illegal search and seizure? Cops can't just walk into your house, look around, and try to find evidence of a crime so they can charge you and convict you. They can't do it. They can't just walk into your house and get stuff. They can't just open an investigation into a random person, hoping they can find a crime. There has to be a rationale for the investigation to happen. Why you suspect there's a crime? Well, any suspicion of a crime that the Republicans had died when it was revealed their main sources were foreign spies. So they no longer have a justification for following through with these investigations. But they're going to do it anyways. Because they don't care about the truth. They only care about power. Because that's Republicans. Republicans, too, are fascists. I mean, ask them, dude. They all want to overthrow the American democracy and replace it with dictatorship. Ask the Republican voters. They are all about installing Donald Trump as a dictator. They're done with democracy. They're done with the Constitution. They're done with America. And they want to go to dictatorship. So they're pretty much saying they want a civil war. So that leads me to believe there's been a failure in the American education system. Like, why would Americans become basically Russians? I mean, they want to overthrow democracy. They want to install a dictatorship. They want to end rule of law. How would these are Americans. Like, their grandfathers fought against the Nazis, and here they are supporting the Nazis. How does that happen? Well, according to Randolph Fink, the best argument for free education I have seen in my lifetime is this. In the US, where education is not free, and fewer get well educated, the country is now facing the very serious problem that a large segment of voters do not understand why democracy is important. Instead, they follow a presidential candidate who pitches dictatorship as an interesting new idea, and they do not possess the knowledge to instantly identify this as the worst possible idea ever suggested in American politics. Like, that means there's a bunch of Americans who do not understand that dictatorship is not a new idea. It's already been tried. Dictatorship isn't anything new. It's a horrible, horrible system of government where you don't have rule of law anymore, and it's only rule of power. That's the whole impetus for the beginning of the United States, right? The United States, the people of the colonists were tired of being second-class citizens, of being subject to the law but never protected by the law. The people of the colonists were tired of that. So they threw off the dictator. They fought against the dictator and defeated the forces of the dictator to become free. And now 250 years later, we have some people that want to go back to that king, go back to a kingship, to undo everything their ancestors fought for. How is that possible? Well, Donald Trump said he loves the poorly educated, and now you know why. Because the poorly educated don't understand why democracy is important. And they're easily tricked. Remember, the Republican politicians relied on the word of foreign spies and created an entire narrative based on these lies without any proof whatsoever. And now millions of people believe them, even though it's totally fake. It was an idea thought up by Russian and Chinese spies, and they're both Israelis. Both of those spies were Israelis. Education is very, very important. Now you understand why Republicans are attacking education everywhere. Because Republicans understand that educated people are harder to manipulate. When you're not educated, it's easy to manipulate you. The proof is that I can point to how many people believe in the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden conspiracy theory pushed by the Russian and Chinese spy. That's how I can prove it. So yeah, Republicans are basically Nazis. I mean, I've said this over and over again. I keep saying it. I mean, it's not changing. It's still the truth. Here's some more evidence of it, right? Where'd it go? Republicans ban oh shit. Dude, in view. Oh, it's locked. Republicans ban in vitro fertilization. What is in vitro fertilization? In vitro fertilization is a fertilization method by which women like deposit their eggs in a vial or petri dish or something. I don't know how exactly it works. And then the man provides a sperm, and then scientists manually put the two together. so that you have a fertilized egg. Then you put the egg in the woman, and then it grows into a baby eventually. Now, you think, why would Republicans get rid of this? Why would they want to stop this thing? Well, because that's another way that women control their reproductive cycle. Remember, for Republicans, they're ultimately patriarchy. They're patriarchs. They're into men rule. That's it. Just men rule. Men have all the power, not women. So anything that gives women power is a threat to men. That's why they're against abortion. Because if women get control of the reproductive cycles, then they have control. They're not, you know, they have control of it. If you don't, you know, what's the opposite of women having control of the reproductive cycles? Men having control of women's reproductive cycles. So the Republicans in Alabama, through the Supreme Court, have outlawed in vitro fertilization, because that's just another way that men can control women. Remember, it's also the deal with the ban on abortions is that a rapist can come by and rape women at any time, and women are not allowed to have an abortion. They have to carry the rapist baby in their own bodies. They have no say in the matter, according to Republicans. Well, but if a woman wants to become pregnant with a person of her choice and uses science to do it, Republicans are like, no, you can't do it. So, in other words, women have less rights to reproduction than men. All a man has to do is rape a woman against her will. He doesn't even need her consent. All he needs to do is overpower her, or blackmail her, or something like that. But use violence. All a man has to do is use violence to force a woman to carry his baby. But if a woman wants to use science to have a baby, she can't do it. So, one more way that Republicans are Nazis. You know, another way Republicans are Nazis is that they are always trying to defund the United States. How do the Republicans defund the United States? First of all, they make big, huge tax cuts for the wealthy. And they don't replace that funding with anything else. they just cut taxes for the rich. Then, when they lose power and they're in the minority, Democrats will try to balance the budget, but Republicans will blame the Democrats for the lack of revenue created by the Republicans. Remember, Republicans cut taxes for the wealthy so that there's a deficit. Then when Democrats come in and try to balance the budget again, Republicans expect tax cuts, or they expect cutting social funding to pay for the tax cuts that they implemented themselves. And they blame the Democrats for it. So another way they try to defund the United States is that Republicans try to defund the IRS, because the IRS is the entity that goes after rich people to make them pay their taxes. So if you defund the IRS, then rich people can cheat on their taxes, and the IRS won't have enough funds to go after them. That's the idea of Republicans. I mean, that's just the way it is in Republicans. So what that has led to is this kind of distribution of wealth. Like, I've already shown you this before, but like here's another way of looking at it, right? So you break this into, well, here, the bottom 50% of Americans, half of Americans, you take, so we're like 350 million, you take 175 million, and they have, all of them down here have this much. That's it. The next 40% have like, what is that, like 10, what, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say 9 times the wealth. The next 40% has 9 times the wealth of the bottom 50%, the poorest 50%. Then you go to the top 10%. The top 10%, so you got like this. You can't even see that. Okay, so you got like here, that's 1, right? So you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna say like 10. So, and then the top 1% is just outrageous, right? So we're saying, yo, let's tax these people who make a stupid amount of money. Right? These people make so much money, it's ridiculous. Why not tax them? Well, Republicans hate that. They do not want that to happen. They want the wealth to go from the bottom to the top. We can look at the richest people in 2024. What do we got here? Overall, Elon Musk is the richest, followed by Jeff Bezos, followed by Mark Zuckerberg, followed by Larry Ellison, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Larry Page, Steve Ballmer, Sergey Brin. Anyways, Elon Musk is a bad guy. He's on Team Russia. That guy is selling Starlink so Russia can invade Ukraine. And Elon Musk limits Starlink to Ukraine so they can't attack Russia. So Elon Musk is de facto on Team Russia. And he's a billionaire. He's like the richest man in the world. And Republicans don't want to tax him. I don't know what you want to say, dude. Here's another way of looking at it. The bottom 50% have 3% of the wealth. The next 40% up have 30%, 31. The top 9% have 36%. The top 1% have 17%. The top 0.1% have 14% of the wealth by themselves. Like, it's insane how much wealth is concentrated at the top. And the way you unconcentrate the wealth at the top is you tax them. You tax the wealthy. But Republicans don't want to do that. They do everything in their power to keep the money at the top and take the money from the bottom. I mean, I'm telling you this so you know, but for a lot of for Americans who are Republicans, they're poorly educated. They're not going to understand, or if they do understand, they're not going to believe it. Because they've been conned. So it's like a serious danger, dude, that a guy who's promising to leave NATO, to work with Russia, to overthrow democracy, has got so much support in the United States. It just blows my mind. My mom talks to her friend who's brainwashed, and I That's the friend who I saved her from, because that friend was telling my mom all sorts of stuff and my mom believed it at first, until I kept working with her for years to undo that stuff. And now my mom tries to talk to her friend. She's like, you tell me these things, but look at this article I have, all these articles that disprove what you're saying. And the friend will say, well, I'm not going to read that. I'm going to tell you bullshit, but you can't say anything to me. Is that really a friend? I'm going to discount anything you say, but you have to believe whatever I say. Is that really a friend? Yeah, I don't have those kinds of friends anymore. Because they're not really friends. Here's the thing. The most brilliant thing that Trump is capable of accomplishing is convincing people that they are in on the con and not his target. That's the brilliance of Donald Trump. He's able to trick stupid people into believing that they're smart, that they're smarter than other people. And by doing that, the stupid people don't realize that they've been conned. Because they think they're in on the con. They think they're the ones who are doing it, when really they're the ones who are being tricked. I mean, we see it with the, I mean, the biggest thing, I mean, the most recent thing, I can't say the biggest thing, but the most recent example of this is how they all got swindled by the Hunter Biden conspiracy theory pushed by foreign spies. They all believed a foreign spy over Americans. But they've already done that, right? All the Republicans already believe Putin against the United States. They all believe Putin. Because what did Putin say? Putin said, oh yeah, Russia didn't attack the United States, but the United States and all the allies of the United States say, yeah, Russia attacked the United States in 2016. But Republican voters, because they believe they're in on the con, they're like, they believe the Putin and not the Americans. What do you do with people like that? So yeah, I was kind of sick this morning. I think I had a THC hangover, which is real. You can actually have those. I ate an entire candy last night by myself, a whole candy, and this morning I woke up with a bad headache and really tired. I had to take some ibuprofen to kill my headache. Then I had to go like buy food at Taco Bell, some breakfast burritos, so I didn't get nauseous. But I managed to hang out and still do this show. Like, it seems almost redundant at this point. Like, when I first started doing this show, nobody understood that Donald Trump was on Team Russia. No one understood it back then. Now, I think a significant number of people are aware that Donald Trump is on Team Russia, and he's trying to overthrow the United States. So the purpose of the show is kind of redundant now, because most people know. hopefully I can still get you some information that's new and like make connections that the mainstream media won't make. Like, I'm glad that they picked up after I did that Republicans were using foreign spies to go after Joe Biden. After I said it, I think they figured it out. That they said, "Oh yeah, that's a great connection." Because yeah, it is. I mean, Republicans are basically the reincarnation of the Confederacy. So the purpose of the show seems to be redundant at this point, but I'm going to keep doing it until Donald Trump is in prison, because he's not done for yet, right? We're still in danger. They're still threatening to overthrow the country. Nothing of significance has happened to Donald Trump. Sure, he has to pay like $460 million, and that's supposed to like have like cleared out his cash. But that's not a criminal sanction. He's not in prison yet, and he needs to be in prison. Donald Trump is an absolute criminal. He's a traitor. And he has tricked all of these people for his own selfish good. So, all right, well, that'll do it for me for today. Just a short show. March 25th. Oh, that's the thing. So Donald Trump owns a judge, Judge Cannon, Eileen Cannon. And she is working to help Donald Trump any way she can. One of the ways she is helping Donald Trump is delaying his case so that it happens after the election. Donald Trump wanted to delay all his court cases until after the election, because in the event that Donald Trump takes power, he can direct the Department of Justice to drop all the cases against him. So he wants to push the cases off until after the election so he can dismiss them. But the other thing he can do is that Eileen Cannon can use the power of her scheduling to interrupt all the other court cases, because remember, he's not just in one court, he's in like 4 different courts. They're all going after him, and he only owns the judge in one of the courts in Florida. So what that judge Eileen Cannon is going to do is schedule her court to interfere with all the other court cases so they cannot proceed until after the election, which is what Donald Trump wants. The number one thing that Donald Trump wants is delay. He cannot win in court. He can't win. So he has to delay the court cases until after the election, and hope he wins the election. He takes power. He can't win, but he hopes he can steal the election so that he can dismiss the court cases against him, because he can't win. He's guilty. He just needs to make them go away. And remember, his voters don't care that he's a criminal. They want a dictator. They don't want rule of law anymore. They're okay with him being a criminal. They want to get rid of rule of law. So yeah, gotta watch out for Eileen Cannon. Bad judge. She's gonna try to wreck all the other court cases too, not just her own. Anyways, okay, that'll do it for me. Until next week, Pogo Kiddo out. Peace. Stop.